Morning, everybody. I actually want to give you just a quick little rundown of some things that I find very important with my archery setup. If there's some background noise, I do apologize. I'm pretty close to the highway, but one thing I focus on a lot, and I know Tyler focuses on this a lot too, um, is making sure that when I get a new setup, I have all my measurements from my old setup written down, documented, things like that. Why that's important, and I'm going to drop some pics in here too for you. So I just came out here this morning to bare shaft tune my bow. I have new strings and cables on it that Tyler built for me, and I have new arrows that are micro diameter arrows that I've never used before. They're about 40 grains heavier, which isn't, sorry, 24 grains heavier, which isn't a lot, so it's not going to make a huge difference. Once I get out to distance, it'll make some distance with my up and down and things like that, but one thing that just saved me a ton of time is making sure I have some measurements written down. So I like to take measurements of where my peep sight is and where my D-loop location is, especially when I'm swapping out strings and things like that. And why I do that is because I know I had this thing tuned up before I switched everything, before I put new strings and cables on, before I changed arrows, things like that. So what I look at here is I always take a measurement, and I do it with calipers. I have calipers that go out to 6 inches. So I measured from, I just hooked right in here, and I measured to the middle of my peep sight, sorry. And then I measured from a spot on my peep sight down to the center of my D-loop or wherever you want. Just, it doesn't necessarily matter where, just so as long as you know what you're measuring. And why that's important is because of these pictures that I'm going to drop in right here. And so as you can see, these first two photos are at 10 yards. And the first one is of my horizontal tuning, so left and right. And the second one here is of my vertical tuning, which is the up and down, obviously. And as you can see, at 10 yards, with no work, no adding or taking away turns on my limbs, no moving my Flexus on my Prime Synergy Hybrid, nothing, literally nothing, not moving my rest, not moving my sight, nothing. You can see that I'm pretty well spot on. So then these next two photos, so I shoot it at 10 yards, and then these next two photos are at 20 yards. And as you can see there, everything lined up again. This first photo is again my left and right. And then here on this second photo, this is my up and down. So what this allows you to do is save a ton of time with tuning. Obviously, if you change things a lot, like if I went and made these arrows super heavy, yeah, I'm gonna have to completely retune my bow, but 24 grains, it didn't really make a huge difference. Micro diameter, you just never know how things are going to set up, but they always say if you change one thing, you got to change everything. So you want to make sure, don't go out and just start shooting and thinking that you're going to be right on when you change something that's important. You want to come out here and you want to double check your tune. If you're taking your bow to a bow shop, which one of the best things, the favorite things that I do is I do all this work by myself, and that allows me to know exactly what's going on with all of my stuff and things like that. But if you're taking your stuff to a bow shop, maybe you're not set up for it, whatever. If you have the ability to get set up for it, I think you're going to love it probably. If you're really into archery, you can really go down a rabbit hole. But if not, and you're taking your stuff to a bow shop, you can still take your measurements and make sure that everything gets measured back and put back in the correct spot. So go ahead and take your measurements, get a tape measure out, calipers, whatever it is, and take your measurements, write them down, make sure you know where you measured from exactly. And then just make sure your stuff gets put back in the exact same place, because the fact of the matter is you're going to have to replace your strings and cables eventually if you shoot a lot, and that's just something that saves you a bunch of time. You can get that thing back and be basically right back on. So again, always double check. Don't just assume it's on. You want to come out and you want to shoot. But if you do, this is what it allows you to come out and do. Check out this last picture, and thanks for watching. Have a great day, everybody.